I don't think it would have got banned if they didn't add the third act. Maybe people were offended even with the whole subject matter.
So when you read what the Monty Python guys have been saying about this movie, and this is like an almost 50-year-old movie, there have been a lot of interviews, there's been a lot of discussion about this movie, and they will swear up and down that this is not a blasphemous movie, this is a heretical movie. And what they mean by that is that they do not attack either God or Jesus or anyone's belief. They are criticizing the behavior of religious people when it comes to things like crowds or people getting worked up about things. So famously, when they were writing this movie, they kind of started out with Jesus, right? That was like in Jesus' teachings as described in the Bible. And they didn't find anything to satirize because they basically said, yeah, this pretty much checks out. These are broadly good things. So what are we going to criticize or what are we going to satirize? And one of the examples of this is one of the first scenes is the Sermon on the Mount, right? Where Jesus is preaching his sermon and people are listening. And Jesus just off blurry in the background. You can barely hear him. You can just hear that it is the Sermon on the Mount, right? And we are seeing the reaction of people to it. They keep mishearing what he's saying, and they keep getting into arguments over different people having different interpretations. And there's the famous Cheesemaker jokes where they mishear blessed are the peacemakers as blessed are the cheesemakers. And then they have a theological debate about it and settle on clearly this is an allegory and it refers to all professions in the dairy industry. It's not to be taken literally. Right? So that is the joke, right? They're not actually making fun or attacking the actual teachings. They are attacking how people receive them and deal with them, and often take them way too seriously to the point where it creates divisions between people. I think that is the crux of what this movie is saying. They knew what they were doing, right? Like they're not shocked that people would be upset about this, especially in 1979. And I think we do need to put this into its historical context. In 1979, just open criticism of religion was much more taboo. Like this is really something that changed in the 2000s, right? Up until that point, it was basically impossible to criticize religion at all in any way. That started changing, I would say, in the 90s. And then from the 2000s onwards, kind of there was like a tipping point where it became much easier and there were no real repercussions for you. But if you did it in the 70s, that's where it got dicey. And then I think that explains the reaction that this movie had, which is that people were just shocked that somebody would say something like this, as opposed to taking issue with the specifics of what was being said. Right? I think today people would engage more with what was actually being said and less with the idea that somebody would make a satire about religion or the life of Jesus or whatever, right? I think that is why it was so controversial, and that is why it was protested so strongly, and that is why it was banned in so many places for so long.